Welcome. We're doing another deep dive today, really for you, the learner, who wants to get to the heart of things, pretty quickly, but still thoroughly.
Yeah, those aha
Yeah.
moments without feeling totally swamped.
Exactly. And today we're diving into something pretty universal: control. That urge we all feel.
That need to keep everything just so in its place.
Right, like maintaining this perfect rhythm so nothing unexpected, nothing disruptive happens.
We want to explore why that urge is so strong
Yeah.
and maybe what's underneath it all.
Think about those times, maybe a tiny change in plans, and you feel that tightening in your chest.
Yeah,
That's kind of our starting point today.
and maybe think about your own experiences with it. Your meticulously crafted to-do list, perhaps?
Or the perfectly arranged desk.
Yeah. What actually happens inside you when the unexpected hits?
We've looked at some sources that really dig into this very human thing, not to judge it harshly.
No, not at all. More about just bringing awareness, noticing these patterns in yourself, right here, right now.
So this feeling of needing control, it often feels tied up with safety, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's like we tell ourselves, if I manage every detail, I'm protected. Protected from getting hurt or being disappointed.
We came across this composite example, Maria, on the outside, totally
It
successful.
Looked like it, yeah. Immaculate apartment, work projects way ahead of schedule.
Balance, social life, the works. But underneath all that,
There was this constant humming anxiety.
yeah.
Always sort of scanning for threats,
Yeah.
for problems.
Even when everything seemed completely under control, does any of that
Hmm.
resonate? Does it feel familiar at all?
And where does it tend to show up most for you? Is it in relationships?
Or at work, maybe? Daily routine?
Yeah, because these aren't just, simple habits. They often say something deeper about how you relate to the world and to yourself.
Let's try looking at this with a kind of Gestalt awareness lens, maybe.
Okay.
Come back to a recent situation, a time you felt that strong pull, that need to take control.
Okay, got one.
Yeah. What was actually happening around you? Who was there?
And what emotions were stirring up inside? Just notice them.
And then maybe turn inward. What did it feel like physically in your body?
Was there like a clenching? Stomach? Shoulders?
Maybe holding your breath. I do that sometimes without realizing.
Right, these physical sensations are like messages, aren't they? Trying to tell us something important.
It's interesting, too, how society often sees control as strength, competence.
Yeah, it's definitely framed that way. But what if we think about the vulnerability it might be while masking?
Right. What are you really afraid of deep down when you reach for that control? Is it failure?
Rejection, maybe just chaos, the unknown.
Yeah, the unknown feels big. We also read about James. He ran his business with these incredibly detailed procedures,
Constant oversight, everything managed.
looked super responsible from the outside, but inside,
Oh.
he felt exhausted, joyless.
And it turned out his control came from way back. Childhood stuff. Unpredictability led to pain for him.
So his meticulous management wasn't just business strategy.
It was self-protection, deeply rooted.
So, thinking about that, what does control actually cost?
That's a crucial question. It might give you that temporary feeling of security, sure, but what's the trade-off?
Your relationships? Your creativity, maybe?
Or just your ability to be present, right here, right now. What spontaneous moments, what genuine connections might you be missing?
Let's bring it right here again. How does your body feel just reflecting on this? Any tension?
Any holding on?
Well, just imagine gently loosening that grip. Just a little. Not letting go entirely, just creating some space.
What do you notice then? Any shifts? Maybe a bit of fear comes up.
Or maybe something else. Excitement, even.
Yeah, and often, right there in that space, that's where the growth can start.
It reminds me of the Sarah example, the one who planned vacations down to the last detail. Perfection was the goal.
Right, and then the storm hit, completely disrupted everything.
Because of that disruption, she found these hidden cafes, connected with locals in ways she never planned.
And some of her best memories ended up coming from those totally unplanned moments.
So, what might your storm look like? And what possibilities could emerge if things don't go exactly to plan?
It's a powerful thought.
And control isn't just external, is it? It's also how we try to manage our internal world.
Absolutely. We often try to control uncomfortable emotions, unwanted thoughts.
And in doing that, we kind of cut ourselves off from the full range of human experience.
So maybe take a moment now, just scan your inner landscape. What emotions are actually present?
can you just allow them without that immediate impulse to fix them or push them away?
Just being present with whatever is there,
Right.
it can feel, well, revolutionary sometimes.
But it's important to say control isn't inherently bad.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Structure, planning, they can be incredibly helpful, useful tools.
The key is awareness. That seems to be the thread here.
Exactly. Knowing, when does this control serve me? And when does it actually limit me?
Like the difference between organizing your day around meaningful things versus rigidly sticking to a schedule just out of fear.
Or, say, setting healthy boundaries in a relationship versus trying to micromanage everything the other person does. Big difference.
So as we sort of pause here, maybe just consider again, where do you notice control showing up in your life?
What does it feel like physically in your body?
And what might be underneath that need for certainty? What's it really about?
Yeah, just holding those as gentle invitations to deepen your awareness.
Okay, let's maybe dig a bit deeper now into some of the mechanisms behind this need for control.
Yeah, let's do that. In Gestalt therapy, there's this idea of interruptions in the cycle of experience, ways we stop the natural flow.
Okay.
So again, maybe bring your attention inward as we explore these protective layers we sometimes build.
All right. So think back again to that last time you felt that really strong urge to control something. What happened inside you, maybe just before the conscious thought, I need to take charge here?
Was there maybe a flicker of vulnerability, a quick hit of fear, something that triggered it?
Those tiny micro moments, they can be really key, can't they?
Hugely important, often missed. And control can be a way of keeping distance, right? Distance from what feels dangerous or just uncomfortable.
That cycle you mentioned, sensation, awareness.
Mobilization, action, and then withdrawal, integration, a natural flow.
So where in that flow do you tend to get stuck when control takes over?
Is it maybe an endless preparation, never feeling quite ready?
Or maybe doing things, but without really being present, just going through the motions.
Yeah. And our bodies, they tell us so much.
Always coming back to the body.
It holds the wisdom. So scan your body again right now. Where do you habitually hold tension? Shoulders, jaw, gut.
Those physical contractions, they're often expressing emotional holding patterns, aren't they?
Exactly. And sometimes consciously releasing that physical tension can actually loosen the psychological grip too.
So what specific physical feelings come up with your need to control? Can you name them?
Let's talk about projection for a second. The idea that when we're trying really hard to control things externally, out there, it might actually be reflecting some turbulence inside.
Like the chaos we're trying to manage outside mirrors inner chaos.
Precisely. Inner fears, insecurities. Remember Anna,
The one who controlled her home life meticulously.
while constantly criticizing her husband's messiness.
Yeah.
It turned out that was covering up her own deep fears about her competence, about not being good enough.
Do you ever see patterns like that in yourself, where the focus goes outward to manage something internal?
It's a common one. Then there's unfinished business.
Okay, what's that about?
Past experiences that haven't been fully processed or resolved. They can fuel the need for control now.
Like a psychological debt trying to get repaid?
Something like that. Maybe early life taught you that vigilance, being in control, was absolutely necessary to be okay.
So those old situations might still be running the show unconsciously, driving current control patterns.
Possible. Worth considering.
Yeah.
What might be fueling your patterns?
Also, attention patterns. How does that relate?
Well, control often involves hyper-focusing, right?
Yeah.
Zooming in on tiny details, trying to master them.
And losing the bigger picture in the process.
Exactly. It creates this false sense of mastery. So
Yeah.
try shifting your focus. What are you not noticing when you're locked into control mode?
What wider territories of experience might you be excluding?
That's interesting.
And fear. It seems central to all this.
It often is, but notice, is it fear of what's actually happening right now? Or is it often recycled fear?
Recycled from the past.
Yeah, projected onto the future. Fearing what might be, not what is.
And staying present with reality. That can show how unnecessary a lot of the control actually is.
It really can. It grounds you in the actual situation, not the imagined catastrophe.
What about creative adjustment? That sounds positive.
Well, it was. Your need for control probably started as a really creative solution to a tough situation back then. It helped you adapt. But the question is, has that adaptation become rigid? A fixed pattern that now actually limits you in different contexts when the original danger is gone?
So something that worked then might be holding me back now?
It's a common dynamic. So, maybe start noticing.
Yeah.
When do you automatically reach for control, that knee-jerk reaction?
And what if? What if you could pause, just for a breath, between the trigger and the response?
Yes. And just observe your experience in that pause, what's happening inside.
That space. It creates room for different choices, doesn't it?
It creates possibility. Then there's introjection.
Introjection, like taking something in whole.
Exactly. Swallowing rules, expectations, shoulds from others, usually from childhood, without really digesting them.
About how we should be or how things should work.
Right. And these internalized standards can create a really harsh inner critic.
Ah, the critic, driving perfectionism and control.
Often, yeah. What voices do you hear inside when your control slips? Whose standards are you really trying to live up to?
Wow, okay. Lots to think about there.
And briefly, retroflexion.
Turning back on oneself.
Yeah. Like holding back true feelings or needs
Yeah.
instead of expressing them directly.
The energy goes into controlling things instead. Micromanaging.
It can manifest that way.
Yeah.
Could some of your controlling behavior be sort of displaced expression, something you're not saying directly?
Maybe.
And one last piece, lack of support. Sometimes needing to control everything reflects a feeling that there's no reliable external support.
Like you have to do it all yourself.
Yeah. You end up taking everything on, which just reinforces the belief that only you can be trusted, that you're alone in it.
How might that play out in your own relationships or with responsibilities?
It's a lot, I know. But yeah, honestly, just becoming aware of these mechanisms, that's huge.
Awareness itself is transformative.
It really is. Simply noticing these patterns creates that space we talked about. Space for change.
So maybe just notice, have any shifts happen for you just talking about this? Do patterns feel any clearer?
Do different choices feel,
Yeah.
even slightly, more possible now?
Okay. So we've looked at the feeling, the familiarity of control, and then some of these deeper mechanisms fueling it.
Yeah, the landscapes and the engines, maybe. And what's exciting now is looking at the potential for, well, real transformation, moving towards something different.
Towards trust, maybe.
Towards trust, exactly. So check in again, body scan. How does it feel now? Maybe a little softer. Any release?
Remember, this isn't about, like, rejecting control entirely. That wouldn't work.
No, not at all. It's about finding its proper place. Developing discernment. That's the key word, I think.
Discernment. Knowing when to hold on, when to let go, when to plan, when to just flow.
Yeah. Think about Emma from our reading. Controlled her career meticulously.
But it felt disconnected, right? Not really joyful.
Exactly. So she experimented. Small acts of surrender.
Like unplanned weekends. Trusting colleagues more.
Simple things.
Yeah.
But they created space. Space for unexpected joy, for that deeper satisfaction of just being present.
And the shift from control towards trust. It's gradual, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Not a light switch. It's building new pathways in the brain, new relationships with uncertainty.
And as you loosen that tight grip, you might find yourself moving more freely through that cycle of experience we mentioned.
Engaging more fully, more authentically with life as it unfolds.
And letting go of excessive control. It doesn't mean ditching responsibility.
Not at all. It's more a shift in focus.
Yeah.
From external management to internal presence. Cultivating resilience inside.
Which creates space for genuine contact, real connection.
And a deeper kind of security, one that's rooted in your ability to be with whatever comes up rather than needing to prevent it.
And the fear that drives the control.
It transforms. Through awareness, it loses its grip, its power to dictate your behavior automatically.
So instead of an enemy, see fear as a signal.
Yeah. Pause and ask it gently, what are you trying to protect me from? Often you find the fear is outdated. It belongs to a past situation.
Thinking about that figure ground idea again.
Yes.
Control used to be the main figure, dominating awareness.
Right. Took up all the space.
As you release it, other things can come forward, into focus.
Exactly. Spontaneity, creativity, connection. They become the new figure emerging in your life. What new figures are starting to emerge for you?
And this involves completing that unfinished business we talked about.
Through acknowledgement, integration.
Yeah.
Bringing it into the light. Then those old fears, those unmet needs, they don't have to drive you from the shadows anymore.
And physically, those holding patterns.
They might gradually release too. As you practice presence, as you trust more, the body reflects the deeper shift.
But the urge will come back, right? That urge to control.
Oh, for sure. It's a well-worn path. Remember, this is about presence, not perfection.
Every moment of just noticing it without automatically acting on it, That strengthens your capacity for choice.
Each mindful moment builds that muscle. Think of the river metaphor.
Instead of building dams.
Learn to swim with the current. Find that balance. Effort and surrender. Action and allowing.
And relationships. How do they change?
As you embrace more trust, let go of needing to control others, it allows for real intimacy, deeper, more meaningful connections based on authenticity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this conversation,
Yeah.
it's really just a beginning, isn't it?
Definitely not an end point. The questions keep coming. How do I maintain this awareness? What new patterns might show up now?
And those are great questions. They're invitations to keep exploring, keep being curious about your own experience.
So one last check-in
Oh.
right now. How does your experience feel different compared to when we started this dive?
What insights really stand out, landed for you?
And notice any resistance still there? Any holding on? That's just information. More material for exploration.
Because that control, it was your way, your best attempt at the time to manage fear and uncertainty.
And now, with more awareness, there's potential to meet those challenges differently.
Learning to dance with life's unpredictability, maybe.
That sounds freeing, more authentic, leads to deeper connection.
That's the possibility. So carry this awareness forward into your day.
Notice when control arises. Stay present with the feeling underneath, the fear perhaps.
And trust your capacity to respond. In the moment. You don't have to be perfect.
Every moment of awareness counts. It adds up. It's part of the transformation.
The journey continues. Right in the middle of your everyday life. What will you discover next?